Good afternoon, everyone. We're all gathered here today to mourn the passing of Harry Smith, but also to celebrate and pay tribute to his life. As those who knew Harry well, you'll know that he would not want you to grieve in hurt or pain, but to recall his life with happiness. He would want you to know that he loved and cared for you all, and he cherished every moment that he had with you. I'd like to begin by inviting Harry's grandson, Dylan, to please come forward and perform a reading of The Dash by Linda Ellis. Thank you, Dylan. That was lovely. Now, Harry's family have all come together and they've written a eulogy for him, but they've asked me to read it on their behalf. To begin with, the family would like to thank everyone for coming here today to farewell Harry. It means so much to them that you are all here, and it just goes to show how many lives Harry has touched over the years. Harry was born in Wagga Wagga and spent the formative years of his life working on the farm. He was the middle child of 5, so his cheeky behaviour often flew under the radar. As he got older, his sense of mischief was something he held on to. He went to university in Sydney for a year before realising that it wasn't for him. As his time partying increased, his grades decreased. After this, he moved back to the farm in Wagga Wagga to help his parents. It was in Wagga Wagga, at the stock sales, that he met Marion. From what Harry would have you believe, Marion fell in love with him at first sight, falling off of her chair as she swooned. Marion always gave a somewhat contradictory story. Her recollection of events was of a persistent young farm boy who, despite multiple initial rebuffs, continued with his mission of wooing her. After a month, Marion finally decided to give him a chance. Harry took her on a picnic alongside the Murrumbidgee River. They sat on the edge of the bridge fishing from lunchtime until it was almost too dark to walk home. And while they never caught a fish that day, Marion remembers how easily the conversation flowed. She felt immediately comfortable with Harry. Their second date happened a couple of days later and was just as successful as the first. Marion often recounted how she knew that Harry was the one for her after only those 2 dates. Within 2 years, Harry and Marion were married, and Marion was pregnant with their first son, Adrian. Around this time, Harry and Marion moved from Wagga Wagga and bought a house in Kempsey. Harry got a job working as a farmhand on one of the local plots, and after a few months, Adrian was born. It was in Kempsey that Harry discovered his love of deep-sea fishing. One of the other farmhands Harry worked with owned a little tinny that he would take out whenever he wasn't working and go fishing off Southwest Rocks. That farmhand turned out to be Franco, who was Harry's closest friend. From that day on, any time not spent working or with the family was spent out on the boat with Franco. Eventually Harry bought his own boat, but the two of them would still go out together whenever they could. Harry and Franco were regular faces in deep-sea fishing competitions up and down the New South Wales coast, both of them winning numerous awards, which Harry would eagerly show to anyone who came to their house for the first time. In fact, he would usually be eager to show them to you for the second time and the third time. During this time, Harry and Marion had 3 more children, Tempest, Christian and Eric. Their house was starting to get far too cramped, and they decided to move a little way up the coast to Nambucca Heads. This was the house that would remain theirs for the rest of their lives. As their children grew up and began to live their own lives, Harry and Marion were able to enjoy the easy life. Harry still loved going out on the boat, and Franco would often make the short drive up to go fishing with him. On occasions, even Marion would come out on the boat. When Marion was diagnosed with cancer 7 years ago, both she and Harry had to come to terms with the fact that she wouldn't be around much longer. Marion died 5 years ago, surrounded by her loving children, grandchildren, and of course, Harry. In the past 5 years, Harry has been supported by his family and of course, Franco, who was always there when he needed a pick-me-up. Harry still continued to go out on his boat as often as he could, usually with Franco as his first mate. So it's only fitting that Harry died on the sea, doing what he loved and with his best friend by his side. I'm not too sure how Franco felt about it at the time, given he was never the one to drive the boat back, and with Harry lying deceased in the back of the boat, I think it would have been an interesting explanation to the guys at the dock when they pulled up. Leave it to Harry to have the last laugh. And finally, the family would like to express their most heartfelt thanks to Franco for all of the support he has given, not just to Harry, but to Marion and to the whole family over the years. And thank you for being with Harry at the end. I don't think you would have wanted it any other way. You truly are a part of this family, and you always will be. I would now like to invite any guests who would like to say something to come up to the front now. Thank you all for your lovely thoughts and memories. It's wonderful to hear stories from everyone and how Harry has affected their lives. I would now like us to take a minute and hold in our minds a fond memory of Harry. And I thank you again to everyone who is here today. Once again, your support and love is more important to the family than ever at this time. Now would everyone who is able to stand, please stand for the committal. To everything there is a season and a time and a purpose, a time to be born and a time to die. Here in this last act, in sorrow but without fear, in love and appreciation, we commit Harry to his natural end.